Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to be going through some of my semi-recent makeup and beauty purchases and doing some quick little reviews on them and what I'm thinking about them so far. There's like one or two that I think are going to be more like a first impression review more than a speed review because I haven't been using them for quite as long, but I still wanted to include them since they are new to me and I want to share what I have purchased recently. I did a no buy earlier in 2023 and I did that pretty much through June. So these are products that I've bought kind of since ending that no buy, and honestly I've been pretty good and I haven't bought a ton of stuff since then anyway. I've been really focusing on using what I already have, trying to use up some things and kind of get through the rest of 2023 just using what I have. But I do have a couple new purchases that I'm excited to talk about, so if you want to see and hear some of those reviews, then let's get into it. So let's start with eyeshadow palettes. I have gone for so long without really buying an eyeshadow palette, and then all of a sudden I have like 3 new ones to me. So the first one, this one is so exciting. It's definitely a splurge, and this is a first impression review. It's the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I actually just got this week. I had a Sephora gift card, so I decided that that's what I was going to use it on, and it is just the prettiest palette ever. But again, this is just a first impression review. I literally used this for the first time today. So that is what I'm wearing on my eyes. And I am pretty happy with how it turned out. It's like, I mean, it's a nude palette, so I know that might not be the most exciting to a lot of people, but this is just right up my alley. Every day I can wear it for work, I can glam it up if I need to. I always have liked the Natasha Denona matte formulas, so I like that there's a good variety of those in here to kind of play with. And nothing is really overly dark except for this silhouette shade, which I think it's showing up black. It's a really dark, like brown purpley color, and that'll just be so great for like a liner if you want to do a powder liner. Today I put sheen all over my lid and then a little bit of this shade filigree in my outer corner, and then used some of the blending shades in the crease. And yeah, I just think it turned out so pretty. It's, you know, I get it, not the most unique palette, but I've been really liking the Natasha Denona formula that I have in my mini palettes, and so it's just like, you know what, none of the other larger palettes have ever jumped out at me as like, oh, I really wish I owned that, until this one. So I just felt like I was gonna get my money's worth because this literally, I could use it every single day and be happy. So loving this. So glad I picked it up. Definitely a splurge and like treat yourself item. And I also really like the packaging. It's so pretty. So that's the first palette that is new to my collection. The other two are both from Sigma, and I have a big palette and a mini palette. So we'll start with the mini palette because I bought this one first, I believe. I bought the mini Sigma Ambiance palette. I really like the packaging with like the glitter. It's just a cardboard magnetic, which I like. And this is what it looks like. So again, it's kind of similar vibes, like a neutral palette, but I like that it has more of like the red-orange colors, and I just thought this would be really pretty for fall. And I kind of have used this to do some of the like latte makeup looks. I really like it. My only complaint, and it's the same with the other Sigma palette, is I find that sometimes their shimmer shades are a little difficult to work with. You can kind of see in this middle one, Candlelight, it kind of is, I don't know if that's like a hard pan or what's happening, but sometimes I kind of have to like dig my shadow brush in a little bit to like break it up to then be able to like pick it up. Like I guess they're not super like powdery in a way, but it's only like a handful of those shades that it happens to. Like the other ones in this palette, Luster and this gold one, which it doesn't even look like I've used the gold one, but I have. Those ones have been fine. It's just kind of this more, like, I don't know, it's not even a duochrome. So I don't really know what's going on with that, but the mattes have blended out fine. I like this so far. I definitely think with Sigma. I like, it's kind of like Natasha Denona. You can get either a big palette or like a mini version for a lot of them, and I really like that as an option. Sigma also has sales pretty regularly, or you can find like affiliate coupon codes. So these are pretty affordable, I think, for mini palettes. So I really have been enjoying this one a lot, and I think it's going to be really nice as we go into fall with some of these oranges and golds. The next Sigma palette I got is the Sigma New Mod palette. And this is like that velvety packaging, which is nice, but it's not my favorite because I do think it tends to get a little dirty. Like I've got like a stain already on here and down here, and it's hard to keep clean. It's reminiscent of the like ABH palettes. It does come with a dual-ended brush, which is also really nice. It comes with an E38 and an E54 dual-ended brush. Now mine looks a little banged up because it did come with two of the shadows cracked, so I like repressed them in there and it's fine. They just don't look that great, but here is what this palette looks like. And I decided to get the full size of this one because the mini version I didn't feel like had like the variety that this one did. Like I wanted to have colors that were maybe a little out of my comfort zone, like this purple shimmer and even this like kind of brighter yet darker pink shimmer. The rest are pretty kind of, I don't know, it's like basic, but I think the layout of this makes it look interesting. You can almost like block them off. Like that could be a look, that could be a look, like if that makes sense. And then these two at the end are kind of like your highlight and like maybe your liner shades. So I like this setup of this palette and I liked the variety and I've been getting a lot of use out of it so far. Again, an issue I'm having with one of the shadows, it's this like duochrome one up here. You can see like it just kind of starts to like pack on itself, like get a little bit of hard pan. So I kind of have to like break it up every now and then. So again, overall, I don't know, Sigma, like it's a brand that I want to like it. I want to love it. I really like their palette layouts and their ideas and stuff, but it's just the shadows, it's like they're just kind of, if there's like one or two misses in a palette, it just makes it really hard to like give it a glowing review. And again, this one you could get in the mini version as well, but I think it's worth looking into. I like the color stories. Again, you can find affiliate and discount codes and they have sales pretty regularly. I want to say last year at Black Friday or like Cyber Monday, they had like a really good deal. And so I was able to pick up some of their other makeup products for really cheap. I don't know, it's kind of a hit or miss, and I would just give these like an average rating. So I don't not recommend them, but I don't like highly recommend them, if that makes sense. So let's stick with the eyes theme and talk about what you would do before eyeshadow, and that's eyeshadow base. I recently picked up the Milk Makeup eyeshadow primer, the Hydro primer. Hydro, it's upside down. And I actually got my hands on this at my local TJ Maxx, and I believe this was $6.99. So super good price for being able to try this out. So far, I really like it. I only have one other eyeshadow primer in my collection right now, and it's a mini version of the Fenty Beauty one, which I also really like. But this one I felt like maybe looked a little more like gel-like, and I just kind of wanted to see a comparison of that, and so far I'm really liking it. It's what I put today as my primer. Like I do see a difference on days when I use this versus not using a primer. It really does prevent the creasing. I feel like my shades blend a little better as I'm putting on my makeup in the crease. And yeah, so far I'm really liking this, and I'm glad I was able to find it for such a good price. So if you can get your hands on it for cheap, I highly suggest that. I don't know if I would have like paid full price for this, but for like $7, this is a great deal. Two mascaras that I recently added to my collection. One I have been enjoying and one I am pretty disappointed in. So we'll start with the good one, and that is, and I just have a mini of both of these. It's the Cali Ray, the Come Hell or High Water mini mascara, and this is like a tubing mascara. So I really like tubing mascaras. I find they just really like lift and lengthen. That's the whole point. And also what I really love about tubing mascaras is how easily they come off. In the shower, if I choose like a cleansing balm, it'll just kind of, you know, glide it right off. It doesn't flake during the day. It doesn't transfer. So I've been really enjoying this. I don't know if I don't know, it's always so hard for me to justify spending a higher price tag on a mascara when there are so many drugstore options, again, that are so good. I believe I got this mini one as like a free gift with purchase, so if I ever see this again for that, or like as a Sephora point perk, or like I got a gift card, I would definitely consider purchasing this. It's a really nice mascara. Now the one that I don't like is I purchased this at the same time I got the primer, and it's the Milk Rise Mascara. First off, the packaging just like weirds me out. It's like the weird grippy like silicone plastic stuff, and I don't know, it just feels weird, and I feel like it's gonna like pick up like dirt and stuff really easily and just kind of start to look a little grimy. So I don't love that. Again, I was able to find this at my local TJ Maxx for I think it was $6.99, $7. And so I was like, you know what? I'll try it. That's what I would normally pay for like a full-size drugstore mascara, but I will give this a try. I haven't really ever tried a lot of stuff from Milk, so I was like, I'll give it a try. I do not like this at all. The brush is fine, but this could just be fault of the product for it having been sitting at TJ Maxx for who knows how long, but this formula to me just seems pretty dry, and that's just not what I prefer in my mascaras. I want a little bit wetter. I don't want like so wet that it's like smearing and clumping, but I kind of want a more in the middle texture for my mascara to where it's wet enough to where I can really coat my lashes and not feel like it's going to dry and flake off. And so that is unfortunately what I've been experiencing with this. It is super dry. I have it on my lashes today, and like I think my lashes look fine, but this is after putting on like 3 coats of this. So I just think that is not worth that effort. And again, it's so dry that it does flake throughout the day, which is really annoying. And then that also just makes it kind of hard to wash off. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't recommend this. Like, don't waste your money. I definitely prefer my Milani highly rated anti-gravity mascara. This is my ideal like formula of a mascara. It's that good in between of like dry but wet. So unfortunately a dud, but sometimes that's what happens. Next, let's jump into some like skincare type products. I know this is kind of all over the place. I didn't really go in order of like how you would apply things to your face, but whatever. The first thing, this is fairly new to me as well. This is from the brand Peach Slices, and I got the Snail Rescue Blemish Busting Toner. This whole like snail mucin thing is just like blowing up right now. I saw that Peach Slices, which is kind of like the cheaper sister brand of Peach and Lily, and they sell it at Ulta, had this like toner version. So I was kind of like, okay, we'll try that. I was in need of a new toner. So as you can see, I haven't really used it a ton. So it's definitely like an interesting like texture or like feel. It's kind of a mixture of being like thin like a toner, but then like a little bit serumy at the same time, which I guess makes sense because it has this like snail mucin concentrate in it. So it's like slightly more serumy than like a regular toner would be. So I kind of like that. I just put it on a cotton round and just kind of wipe that in a quick layer over my face in the morning to kind of prep my skin. And it's definitely not as like astringent as like an astringent toner would be. So I think that's kind of nice, and so it just feels kind of like refreshing, but also like a little moisturizing. So I'm excited to see if I notice any benefits after using the entire bottle up, but definitely a more affordable way to try out this kind of fad that's going on. The next skincare item I have, it's kind of a, I don't really know if I can call it a miss or fail, but it is the Pacifica SPF setting spray. So first off, I like that it has the SPF, and I think the problem with this product is the packaging. The sprayer is like, I'm gonna try, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. The sprayer, it's like too concentrated and too much of like a direct stream instead of like a mist. Like it's not distributing evenly, if that makes sense. So like, I don't know if you could see that. It's just a straight line of product. And I've tried to like brush off the little sprayer because I was like, maybe it's clogged and that's why it's doing that, and like nothing. It just like won't do that mist. So again, like I don't want to be too harsh, but I also don't want to be like overly generous. But I think what I'm gonna do is when I use up another setting spray that I have where I do like the sprayer, I'm just gonna transfer the product in here into that bottle instead. So for that reason, it makes me not want to recommend this, because if the packaging alone is preventing you from properly using and experiencing the product, then that's not actually user friendly. So unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend this unless, you know, maybe my bottle is a faulty one, unless you can see that the sprayer is going to be more of a mist. So that's kind of unfortunate. Okay, and last but not least, I have a couple of face products. The first one I have talked a ton about already, but I just wanted to include it to kind of sum up my feelings about it one more time, and it is the Maybelline Superstay Activewear Concealer. This is my ultimate new favorite concealer. I have the shade 22. It's a really good match for me. I just feel like this, it stays on, it doesn't crease, its coverage doesn't feel cakey, and I don't know if it's because it's supposed to be like activewear, but I feel like it lasts all day. And I wore this for like the last part of the summer, so like since July, and we've had some pretty stinking hot days in Nashville, like over 100 degrees. And I feel like this has held up through a lot of those days. Not that I'm like working out in this, but you know, in the middle of my workday, I do take a walk around my work building outside, and you know, it seems to hold up pretty well during that. There's no streaking going on. Highly recommend. It's affordable. You can find it on sale or with a coupon at Ulta. I hope you try it. The next product is fairly new to me, so I have only used it, I don't know, maybe like a dozen times, and it is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. And I got the shade Light, which I think is supposed to be a little more transparent, but it's just a loose powder that's got a little bit of a shine to it, and it's got the twist cap where you twist it open and then you dump a little bit into the cap, and that's how you can use it. And so to go with that, I decided to pick up the puff that goes with it, and I've only used like the one little corner, so I don't know if that is like really how it's supposed to be used, or like how you would use the rest of it on your face, because I'm really just using this powder on my under eyes, and it has worked so well for that. I kind of like, once I'm done doing my foundation and concealer, I'll just take a little bit on the puff and just pat it on and kind of like bake with it. Not like full on bake, like I'm not leaving it on for like 10 or 15 minutes and wiping it away. I'll just kind of pat it on a little heavily, and then I'll kind of powder the rest of my face with a different powder that I'm using and do like my bronzer, and then I'll come back and wipe this away. So it's maybe like a couple minutes, and I just feel like it looks really nice. It adds like a little bit of brightness under there without it being too much, and I think that it's been helping with preventing creasing, which again, I just feel like is something that every concealer is going to do regardless of how great it is. I think I said this in my last video, that's just the nature of that area. Like, your eyes are moving a lot throughout the day. That's where a lot of like our facial expressions come from. You're blinking, like we're touching our face. So that's just going to be an area where it's going to crease no matter what. But this powder has really been helping, and it's also pretty affordable, as is the puff. I think this was like $3 and this was $8. So I always am a fan of finding an affordable option. I also feel like this is a reasonable amount of loose powder as well, especially if you're only using it on like a concentrated area of your face. I haven't used it all over my face yet, and I don't know how that would go. So let me know if you use it that way or if you just use it like I do. And then the last product I have, I'm not going to do a review on. I can't even do a first impression really, but I just wanted to share my most recent purchase, and it is the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Powder Bronzer in the shade Island Ting. So it's looking a little dark, but I definitely think this is a line of bronzers where you should go look at it in person before you buy. The colors, I think, looked a little distorted online. I thought I was gonna want the like lighter shade, which I think was called like In the Sun. And then when I got to the store, I was like, this is really light. And so I ended up going up, I think, 2 shades and got this. So again, it may look a little dark, but I prefer a more like brown based powder bronzer than orange, and so I felt like this was that. And especially in the summer, I do want a darker bronzer. I had told myself that I really wanted to work through a couple of my powder bronzers in my collection before I bought this. I've been wanting this product for a while, and as you know, in my last couple of project pans, I have worked through some bronzers, so I decided to treat myself to this. I had an Ulta gift card, which basically covered the full cost of this. So I'm excited to start using this and have this in my collection. All right, so those are just a couple of my thoughts on some of the items that I have brought into my collection in the past few months. None of these products are really a brand spanking new to the beauty world except for the Natasha Denona palette. Everything else was just new to me, but I still enjoy sharing those thoughts because not all of us are always going out and buying what the most absolute new product in the market is. Some of us are still just kind of shopping around what's already been available for a couple years and seeing what works for us. So I hope this was helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.